Okay, so I feel like everything is gonna be like all over the place, and I've been up since like 2. It's so weird though, because even when I was asleep, it felt so much like was talking to myself or something. Like it was like very aware or something, and it was I really there's certain different waves you can put on, like alpha, delta, theta, and stuff, and I do think some of those really get you in some deep states. Like I really recommend trying different ones and seeing, and then when you're doing it too, sometimes you'll like I could be doing stuff, and some of them will put in a weird noise. Like you gotta listen to it for a few minutes and tune into your body and see how your body reacts. But some of them you'll just feel like it will just go into like a rhythm, like a pulsation with it. And I don't know, it's cool. And another thing that is weird is like I said, I've just really tapped into my body through this whole thing. And so I'd find myself doing weird all sorts of weird stuff and weird hand things. I'm always doing these weird hand things and stuff now. And I'm just like, just go with it, like whatever. And but I just saw some other people doing that. So I think that's part of it is just as you tap into your soul identity or something. I don't know. This was kind of cool too, because this guy was saying that him, his 7-year-old, and his 5-year-old, they were looking for something, a phone charger. And he asked the 7-year-old, and the 7-year-old, I think it was in there. But the 5-year-old cleaned it up, and so she would know where it's at. And so he asked the 5-year-old, and the 5-year-old, she said, let me go think about it. And so she went out of the room for a minute, and then she came back in, and she goes, I'm really scared. I can't do this alone. So they go, okay, well, we're here with you. So she sat Indian style, and then she went, I think she might have started doing this. I do this all the time. And then with one hand, she started doing something else. And then she was going, and all sorts of stuff. He said he'd never seen anything like it. And then once she got done, she said, yes, that she remembers seeing it, but she's not sure where it's at. And so they were like, well, what are you doing? And she started explaining, like she was circling back through her memory. She was pulling it, like all of this stuff. And it's like, he's got advanced child there. Like when kids start doing that stuff, naturally, people need to start, being like, okay, this is coming from somewhere naturally. It just seems to be like a tendency for a lot of people to just think that their kids are kind of weird, man. And so many kids, so many kids saying all sorts of stuff, telling their parents about past lives and stuff. So that just keeps growing. Like the kids who are here are being seen more and more and more. The ones that are here too help be the seeders, the moving humanity in this direction. Like they're being born with more DNA already on or something, not having to go through this process that we're all having to go through. And I had a bunch of things coming into my head while I was saying all that stuff. Before I skip to the next thing, there was something else I wanted to say about the Okay, so that guy who was just saying, oh, the guy who was talking about the wisdom teeth, that was one thing, but that wasn't the thing. But the wisdom teeth, and he was saying something about the Om and about that helps raise the fluid up your kundalini into your, there's a whole thing about that and the wisdom teeth and them taking out this resonance or something on purpose. Like, I don't know, there's a whole thing of that, but everything is such fucking, everything they do is shady fucking, like it comes to me nonstop. Everything I see, it's like I see the shady shit behind it. Which one thing is too, as being somebody who is I'm just going to say a seer, is that I can see, all sorts of issues. But I have to learn to allow people to continue their journey without seeing through my eyes. And this is really important. And this was such a good example And I don't think I've said this one yet, but uh, the moon's about to go into Aries, and my granddaughter's in Aries, and she's the one who, she just had her birthday, and I had just seen her, and she's the second to the oldest granddaughter. The oldest granddaughter, she's the one that came with their boyfriend, and she's doing really good, finding herself just, as a free spirit out in the world, and finding a lot of herself through music, which I love. And so then, the other one, she was the one, she is more, I mean, she's more superficial. She knows that. Like, we all know that. Like, she's very stunningly beautiful, of the typical, the tall, blonde, big blue eyes, big thick lips. Like, she looks like, that, I mean, she's just naturally born looking like that girl, that what the girls try and put on to look like as a filter. She looks like that naturally. So, she gets a lot. I mean, that's a life path. That's what people don't get. That's a life path. That's like they line up all the different things. And believe you me, everybody's gone in and played these different parts to see what you do with it. And just like when it was shown to me, what I had done with it was used people to get ahead. And that is that gypsy life. So I've got that, because it has to have something to do with this world event thing that I've been going through, which I think it has so much to do with the first part of my life, which I talked about before. But having the scar on my stomach still, where that woman had said I was stabbed, I just, I don't believe in coincidences. And so everybody comes in and plays different parts so that you can see, what do you do with the part? Like I said, it's always so you can understand yourself. And then you have to, well, do you like that about yourself? Or you want to do something different? You want to grow? You want to, how can you expand? And then, you come up with, and if everybody's an extension of self, I mean, are you really just sitting around a table making plans, or are you just all in here making the plans and you push out? But once you pushed out into that experience is in motion. This is the thing that frustrates me so much, especially in the spiritual community, and just because it's something to grapple with in life, is everything is set. We don't have control over stuff. And it really, man, just is the people who are constantly pushing about spirituality and these certain things are always pushing, like, you're not doing it right if you are not in control of this. It's like, you're not in control of this. That's the whole thing. None of us are in control of this. We're watching ourselves. Like, even all the problems you are going to have, like, for instance, something comes into your life. It's for you, but it triggers you. So immediately all these triggers start going, and you got to process this and process that, but you still know this is for you. But you can get yourself into a position where you're just constantly overthinking it instead of living the experience. Now you're just overthinking it. Instead of being mindful and looking at it from a broader perspective and trying to understand it, instead you just overthink it, imprisoning yourself and trapping yourself by overthinking something. So it is important to be in the flow when things come to you. I mean, there's some things where are too big, you have to be prepared, because one thing I keep seeing, like, this one, like this girl, she was like, like, all I want from a guy is just make me laugh. That's all I want. Just make me laugh. I was like, well, that's pretty low standards, but okay, let's just keep on going. And so she is talking about meeting this guy out at a bar. And I don't know if this girl's a detective, is her job, but, she's got really good detective skills. And so she met this guy out, and they kissed and all, and they've been talking and all this stuff. Then she's trying to find out who he is because she figured out his last name was a lie. So she's going through all sorts of stuff to figure this out. Finds his name, and then sees why he's hiding it, because he's engaged to somebody. So as soon as she confronts him, he blocks everything. Then she goes in and tells the girl. So she doesn't know what's going on with the relationship at this point. But, It's like you can't just lower your standards. You have to raise your standards. And I do really like, as when I'm going through social media and stuff, and I see so many more people that are beginning to really recognize the importance of having boundaries, because people are pushing so hard on boundaries that you have to find a place where you are comfortable to say, hey, well, you pushed me too far. That's a big no here. Stop. And it's hard, especially when you come from this society that is so bullying. And so, to stand in everything. I mean, we're in it. This is it. We're in it. Like, this is the chaos. This is everything coming to the surface. And people are fighting about stuff, and people don't even know what they're fighting about. And, yesterday I had such a bad day. Oh my gosh. And, there was things just, that just come to light, like when they say like these things with these moons and stuff. And a lot of stuff I get with moon things, I always get it a couple days ahead of when the moon thing happens. And it's supposed to happen, I think, the 19th or the 20th. There's going to be some more moon stuff. There's supposed to be, and it's moving into Aries, and that means this and that. Like, you can look all that stuff up if you're interested in the astrology part, but it's a bunch of significant things happening. And I never even finished talking with my granddaughter. Let me finish that one, because I kept saying to her, don't go to college. She wanted to go to college so bad, and she wants to be a nurse. It's like, that is the worst job. Like, and I was like, and colleges are, I mean, when you can know and when you can see the truth, it's like, those are the worst places. I was like, I'm going to send you to indoctrination camp for a cult. And so, and then she took it when I was saying, don't go, is that I was saying, she couldn't do it. But she really was really wanting that out of the shows, out of the movies, that the fraternity and sorority lifestyle kind of thing, like, oh, that just is so appealing to so many kids. They make it so fun in the movies. And so she, went because she wanted to go have that experience. And the thing is that even when I was like, oh, no, don't do that, where I'm talking about, you got to allow people to go out and spread their wings, because you don't know how they're going to find themselves. And so she went out, and I'm not sure, about all of her grade whole things, but all of a sudden, when she understood that she gets a check if she keeps her grades up, and she gets to live there for free off of this check. Like, once she got put all that together, suddenly she was like really focused on school. She wasn't focused on partying. She was focused on her goals, and she is trying to find balance in her lifestyle. But that is a huge growth. So how in the world, like, if I was sitting there, don't do that, like, it would have happened no matter what, because it's going to happen the way it's going to happen. We don't have control over things like we think. But when we just notice that, see how then I can step back and go, yeah, I gotta not worry about, like, you gotta relieve yourself so much of everybody else's journey. Even, Debbie, with your daughter with the Boston and stuff, people have to go out and see things for themselves. And this is what is so hard. I mean, my daughter has already got another fucking trip going to Mexico, and she's taking the two oldest granddaughters, her new girlfriend. Like, they're all just taking off and going again. It's like, oh my God. And, my algorithm, it just shows like all the reasons you don't want to be going anywhere. And when they go, it's just like, gives me a freaking like, oh my God. And you got to surrender so much to trust. But I just thought that was really, cool, because she did what she was guided to do. She did what she wanted to do. Thank God. Thank God she didn't just turn around and do what because I don't want people turning around. I don't want to interfere with other people's journeys. And so everybody has to, have their own and go through their own experience. And the people that we love the most are the ones that we want to control the most, to keep our own selves safe, so that we don't have to live in fear. But see, that is when we have to reel it back and be like, okay, well, we're choosing to live in fear when it comes to this person because we are scared something's going to happen to them and we don't want to feel the pain. We don't want them to go through anything. It's like, it's like a whole maternal instinct or loving instinct or connected instinct or whatever the case may be. But, we have to just surrender and let go of that and be like, what's going to happen is going to happen, and we don't have control over it. And trying to think that we do is enough to drive you insane. And that is what really messes with my head with the tarot people giving dates and stuff. Like, I wish they would stop saying this stuff like, oh, within 12 hours, within 24 hours. It's like, quit fucking messing with my head like that. Like, I know certain things are going to happen because I wouldn't see it. It wouldn't be shown to me. Like, those things are shown. That's what I keep trying to say about the manifesting. It's like, it shows you what your direction is. And if you trust and you believe in yourself to follow the path, then that is how it will play out. And it can seem like you're creating it as you go, but it's not coming. Like, the things I feel like I am about to create in my life did not just come from just like I was sitting there one day going, what do I want to do with my life? I'm going to do this. It wasn't like that at all. And that is what, I think that there's so much confusion in manifesting and following timelines and stuff like that. Because from what I have understood and seen, just like, okay, my granddaughter gets to go and live that timeline and go through that experience instead of her grandma stopping her and telling her, that's not good for you. And she is still finding some part of herself that she needed to find on her pathway. And so see, I'm all over the place. Like, there's so many things that are going. It's like it feels like inside of my head right now. Like, if you go to one of those, like in Spokane, we had Pig Out at the Park, a street festival, and there's just people everywhere and chaos and things going. That's what it feels like in my head right now. So it feels like there's all these things. It feels really crowded, and but I'll tell you, yesterday it was, I was feeling like beat down. And it was like, it's supposed to happen that way. There is no accident that your daughter will say something and then it will feel like, it isn't like a trigger, like it's a trigger, but it isn't like, triggers just change. Like, it's like the word stays the same, but the entirety of the experience changes. And so a trigger isn't as devastating. Like, when you get triggered in the beginning, they hurt so much more, and there's so much more to process. But as you go through processing trigger after trigger, you get to some that's just like, oh, okay. So, and it's just like, you recognize it immediately, and you think about it immediately, and what does it mean? What am I supposed to see? Even yesterday, I was, I was like, what am I supposed to be seeing? Like, and I was looking at my windows, and I was noticing, like, man, they're so dirty, and that has got to be on the inside. And so then I was like, because they're really tall. And I was like, I am not fucking going and hauling in a fucking ladder and moving my furniture. So I started having this whole discussion about cleaning the windows. And then I'm telling you, I have like Confucius in my head sometimes. Clean the windows when you want to see things clearly and stuff like the stuff that they will sit and say on my head and tell me. It's like, okay. So when you're cleaning the windows, it's like anytime you're cleaning, you go into some type of meditation and you start in like communication. And so, but I was really strong yesterday, but I was also just having a meltdown yesterday in my own self, in my own frustrated, like, even after I don't even remember what it was that she said, but it was the feeling again of just, just being discounted, just being the crazy, just being the one that's, the joke. And it's just like, man, it just gets old, man. And so that was just like, fuck, you just get to the point of like, fuck, when am I going to be seen for who I am? Like, how long is this going to go? I mean, because there's a whole part of your awakening where you're confused of the whole thing. And then all of a sudden when you realize, like, oh, so it's not me. It's been this world. It is upside down. And then when you see it and you want others to see it, because then they're not seeing you for who you are. And they're all seeing you through these toxic lenses and stuff. And so, it just, I don't know. It just gets to be a lot when everything is being through this toxic lens. And you know what I mean? I don't know. So that was already just the frustration of the censorship, fucking 9 views here, 1 view there. It's just like, what the fuck? God damn. Like, and it is so artificial. It's like so frustrating. Fuck. And so, just feeling that. And then what does TikTok come in and do? Fucking take down another video and tell me I need to shut the fuck up. It's just like, oh my God. So I was just being like, like, y'all want me to keep going with this. Like, this is fucking insane. Like, to feel so beat down all the time and to just feel not heard. You know how much easier it would be to just go fucking live out in, the middle of nowhere by myself. Like, and one thing I gotta say too is I do not know how people are going. I'm surprised there's not more crazy shit. There's so much crazy shit. I mean, the chaos is already going. Fuck, look up Chicago. God damn. Atlanta. There's so many. There's so Pittsburgh. Like, it's fucking insane. Chicago is so bad right now. Oh my God. The people are just go in and just steal. I mean, it's just insane. And they just don't give a shit. And, but that is where the don't give a shit. They're going to see. This is what all these people who fear Jesus fear, is this flipping of the energy where it's going to come back on you. And so when you're putting all that energy out, how does it flip back on you? It's not going to be good. Not going to be good at all. And so, that is, to me, people need to be fucking leaving the cities. Like, it's going to get worse. Like, you see people in there crying and stuff, like how bad it is. It's like, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. The cities are going to be destroyed. The way I see it is going to be people like caravanning out, walking together. There's not even going to be cars in some cases. It's going to be people just trying to, just like out of the movies, what they have shown in these Armageddon movies. That is what it's going to be like in the cities. And, it'd be great if everything was all great and we could all just be like, hey, we don't need that. Let's all just run to the hills. Let's make a city together. And, but the truth is that they're in control. And as long as they're in control, they can just shoot a drone over there and fucking blow up our whole goddamn town. So, I mean, literally we're in this phase when we're on our own. We're on our own so we can learn our own power, our own strength, so we can see who we are. And that doesn't mean you're completely alone when you're on your own. Some people are in groups and they're still on their own. And, I mean, I'm 100% on my own, but, if something goes down here, I know I'm not alone. I know that I have people around me, and I don't know what things are going to, wake people up. Now, they have got some explosions going over here, so I don't know if they are, digging in and going, they're going to go up the whole side of the fucking mountain. Like, I just go in and dig. It's so fucking mind-boggling. Like, it is seriously so mind-boggling. There's all these homeless people. None of these houses are selling now. And you just keep building more and more and more. Like, people got to see. And I'm so glad now, because there is people out there who are just exposing real estate and realtors and all of the whole thing. And I just saw this footage was being shared of a woman who was talking about what it used to be like in New Orleans, where she said that we used to be able to just sell something on the street. You could just, make some cookies and go out and sell them on the street. You could have a hair salon in your house. You could have an auto shop in your backyard. And then all of a sudden the government steps in and wants licenses, tax IDs, and all that shit. And they do it to shut us down, to control small business and stuff. But when you think about that, like the control and stuff, and people have got to start recognizing, like, this has to be, these conversations have to keep going so people can see that these people are overstepped. They're these governing forces. They have stepped over our rights. And it's all blowing up. I mean, it's going to play out in our favor. That's the way it's going to play out. That's the timeline we're in. That's what we're here to experience. And it's the cycle. We're not moving into the dark times. We're moving into the golden age. So, yeah, but this is what humanity has to go through. It is, it's so fucking toxic, man. God, it's so toxic. People are so hateful. It is. They finally charged the guy, supposedly. Who knows? You can get a really lenient sentence because he's like 85 anyways, and they can just say he's got dementia and fear and all this shit. And I mean, seriously, like, what? To me, I don't know. They've got people so scared of everything, and where people, they're sitting there in their houses. Because another one happened at the same kind of time, and this is a little girl, and a little white girl, and in upstate New York, I think, or around Staten Island or something. But so she is out driving with her friends, and a car pulls into a driveway to turn around, and a guy comes running out with a gun in his yard and starts shooting her and killed her. She's not, the boy is still in the hospital, which will go in the favoritism of this other psycho, just shooting through the door. But this guy, like, what are you doing? You're just sitting in your house, staring out the window? I mean, was this girl out here lost in the street for a while, and suddenly, she pulls in your driveway, and you're so manly, you're just going to go out there? And it's like, it is mental. Like, people have lost their minds. I can't even believe, like, having to be out in society right now and, being around people, like, hellacious. Like, thank God. I mean, it's lonely and it's horrible to just be here day after day, doing the same thing day after day after day. But Stella, she got better yesterday. I was so glad she finally ate. I had been soaking that leg and soaking it. I did the Epsom salt, I think, even after her thing was open, which probably was really bothering her. But her leg was really big, and now it looks like it's down to more normal. Just where the cyst is kind of lumped out. But man, I can't believe how fast those will come. That they'll just be like, boom. And then she's got, I want to say gout, but that's not what it is. But when I was a nurse, cellulitis, a lot of people would get that cellulitis, and it would be really quick. And they get so red and puffy. And then it's like their legs start just pussing or something, like sweating out pus. And they're just, they're so, like, they look like they're just going to rupture. That is always the thing to me, is too, where people get really extremely obese. To me, I don't know how they do it, because all I can think about is the skin ripping. Like, even when I was pregnant, it's just like, oh my God, my skin is just tearing. And that is what happens when you gain weight. And that's why they stretch their skin out so bad, and then they have to go get it cut off. But really, it is such a barrier for the soul to surround itself, to cushion the impact of others. But really, then in this social economy that we have created, then it is more attack on people. And so it is like you're trying to protect yourself, but you're getting more attacked. But that is so, oh my gosh, there's so much going on with the attacks and the division of, I swear to God, I really, when they kept saying so much stuff about racism, I kept thinking, like, no fucking way. It cannot be that bad as what they are saying. There's people have grown so much since I was a kid, and I actually saw racist people openly. And then I thought, well, now is, I don't see that, but it really is like the people you're around. Like if you're around somebody and they do something, you're not going to hang out with them anymore. So you think they're racist or something. So you just kind of move away from those kind of people who make stupid jokes and stuff. But then what is seen, like some of these people say and stuff, like people are just so ignorant. And I always saw racism as fear of not understanding somebody, because it makes no sense to not like somebody over the color of their skin or what they look like or where you think they're from. It makes no sense because you don't know the individual. I just saw a girl and she was making a plea. I'm not shitting you. This is a real video. She's making a plea to the Gen Xers because she was on the tail end of the Gen Xers, but now they've relabeled that as Genillials, like merging Gen X and millennial. They've decided it's a whole new subcategory. Because they got to just keep on like, well, there's a little difference. There's a little different. Well, let's come up with a new category. Let's do another one. It's like, okay, people, like this is getting silly. And so she was, putting her plea out there to just be accepted by the Gen X's as a Gen X because she's going through what her life experience was. And, I didn't even listen to the whole thing. And I just went in and said, this, labeling us, this just shows it's so absurd that there's too many variables. We're not fucking cattle. You can't just categorize us like this. There's variables. And like where they moved me into, suddenly I'm categorized with a boomer. It's like I was like never any category. But then suddenly when it got to be millennials or Gen Zers or something, well, all of a sudden they're like, we gotta expand that boomer category. Let's just suck those people that didn't have one in there, because there was a gap between Gen X and boomer. There was a whole gap in there for a long time, and I was in that gap. And then suddenly it's like, okay, so I'm a boomer and my mom's a boomer. That makes so much sense. And, and what you're trying to base the category on is how we were raised and stuff. My mom and I were raised very differently. And so I don't, my mom was pregnant and being someone's wife at 16. So, her life was very different. Her mom was a head nurse, and her dad left them when they were little. And she had a bitter mom that was in the 40s, raising 4 kids by herself. And so, yeah, but there's nothing the same of our lives. Like, to be categorizing us is that we came from the same kind of experience. And so anyways, and I even said on another thing in the message, by the way, I raised Gen X and 2 Gen X and 2 millennials. Same parent. So keep on explaining. Like, it's fucking shit. It just is like, the people want to fit in more to the categories instead of fucking bust it open. Stop categorizing me. I am an independent person. I'm an independent thinker. I come from all places and I'm all things. I am not just a category in your fucking little checklist. It's fucking bullshit. Oh, and another thing too is sometimes I feel like it's so weird because I'm not ever heard, but I feel like everything I think and say is then heard by the world. It's weird. It's like, I can really see that everything's projected from ourselves. It's weird. But that show, the Love is Blind. And so I had finished it, and then we're having this live event on Sunday to do the, see who's still together, and for the people to confront one another at the end or whatever. And through the whole show, the toxic behaviors of these girls was just really standing out to me. I was like, man, you get these pretty girls and put them all in a room, and they're just a bunch of attention seeking, just beg somebody to like me, like a lot of stuff is shown of the people's personality, especially like nowadays as we can see more. And so there was a lot exposed about that to me. And then where I saw like there's so many people talking about that, like, oh my gosh, so many people. And then I had no idea, and I don't know if it's just because there was such a huge ordeal on trying to go live that it got so much attention that we all then found out that, or there's just like a whole Love is Blind section on TikTok or whatever. But so many people are talking, but they're all talking about like mental health stuff and toxic behaviors and stuff like that. Like the conversations are becoming different, just like people are, setting boundaries for themselves, saying, stay out of my lane, dude. You don't come in and tell me how to live my life. And in the thing, when I watched the going back over it, I was like impressed with how many people had grown over the year by being put out there on social media, because they all talked about it. It's like being flambéed out there, like, yeah, you're gonna get roasted by the general public coming in and giving the opinions. Is the when you put yourself out there, you're going to get everybody's opinion. And so they were getting all these opinions, but so many of them had really grown from that. They had really become introspective. And the three couples, they had bonded as couples, like they hang out together, and they really seem like strong couples to me. And just their whole approach to relationships, it's just deeper, so much deeper than what you see on so many of these shows. And I think that is the awakening part of humanity, where people are wanting more. But then you still have, there's so many people out there seeing video after video of these girls, getting all fixed up, going out to the bars, trying to connect with somebody. And it's like, girls, that is not how it happens. You've got to see, I like to go out to the bar and go dancing. That's my thing, is I like to go out and go dancing. Like I could go out on the dance floor and just dance all night. I can dance by myself. And then I don't need a drink to dance. But I do need water. You do sweat a lot. But there's so many girls that are just going out, but I do get dressed up. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't get attention, like that nobody talks to me, but, because it does happen. But to me, it's more of annoying of like, because I did go, when I was going out before I was healed, especially, going out, like, it did seem like I'm fucking married guys that met at the bar. Yeah, you do feel like, oh, you just, ran into each other in this chance meeting in this bar. But really, it's two people out there looking for someone to connect with. So it's a room full of seekers. They're all looking for connection and all trying to find anything to connect on, just like all these subcategories. Everybody's just looking for anything to connect on. And, but really, I believe, we'll see how this all plays out, but I believe as you work on yourself and you heal and you raise your vibration, and this is what my guides have told me, that it magnetizes, it pulls the person that meets your vibration. So you are setting your standards, and so you are wanting more for yourself. You're healing. You're knowing you deserve to have what you want. You're a viable human being who deserves to have what they want. The desires from within can come from to outside. And so but you have to, recognize, love for yourself. And that can be a journey. But in that process of learning to love yourself, that you magnetize to the higher vibration of your more of your match. So somebody who is at that higher vibration, that they will magnetize towards you. Somehow they find you. Somehow the two come together, because the universe does it. It isn't like the people have to go out and do it. Like so many people think, like they have to go out and formally try and find a mate. Like, I've got to go out and I got to do this work. There's somebody out there. If I go through this many and I'll date that many, and like it's a job to go out and find this person. And don't forget, in your journey, you can magnetize people towards you that are just kind of preparing you for that person. So, you got some lessons, you got some triggers, you got some things you need to learn. So the people that, especially the closer you get, are there just to get you ready, just to kind of buffer the edges or something, to prepare you for your higher vibration. And so you go through the lower vibration relationships to prepare you for the higher one. But you can always just do the work and not have to go through all of the heartache with all the people. It's just that has been something that we just have naturally done. And so it's kind of like the part of the process of development. But so once you get to that higher place, like, it isn't like you need to go out and, oh, well, maybe if I go with this one, maybe I'll hit it off with that one. It's not like that. You will just come into each other's orbit. It will just, you pull each other into your orbit by raising your vibration. And we'll see. This is a theory at this point, but we'll see. Like the things, no matter how, many days that this place will get me down and I'll feel like beat down, like, oh my God, but the stuff that they tell me is what, keeps me going and keeps me going. But I'm honest about the struggles. And it's hard, and it's very hard to keep yourself going when it feels like you're just in quicksand and you're just trying to run and get out of it, It just feels like you're just not getting anywhere. It just is like, it could be frustrating. But those are all the things, like, I know for me, it is so much about me needing to let go of control. I keep trying to do visualization and keep trying to remind myself that I'm free falling into my future. I'm just free falling. I've got to just let go and just free fall and just see where, I land. And I can't sit here and think, well, this or that, I can't be too trying to figure it out or write the story. That I've got to just allow it to happen. And that is a hard thing. And so, and I don't know in my process if it's me blocking, myself. Everything will happen when it's going to happen, the way it's supposed to happen. But everything that happens leading up to that was supposed to happen too. So everything about that you're doing is what you were going to do to get you to that place for the other thing to happen. It's just a different way of understanding it. And so, through this process, I know that I've got to let go of it, because control is fear. When you feel like you have to control things, it's fear. And when you think about as a soul coming into an experience, the more your experience needs to be a free fall. It is kind of like, you jump out of an airplane in life, but then you have 17 parachutes on. It's like, oh, open another, and but you got to just enjoy the ride. Enjoy as you are falling down. And, or for me, I'll get really caught, especially on dates and time and stuff, and I'll get really caught up in the frustration and, and people seeing me a certain way and then not being heard, and then hearing somebody else say something I said a fucking year ago, and then they're just like, oh, they're a genius. It's like, oh, that is frustrating. It's very frustrating. And I'm not sure about why all of the experience, I know that it is all about learning and it's about putting things into balance. I don't know if I had things out of balance in some part of my existence, and this is to put it back into balance. I know I'm learning things and seeing things, just like, when they told me yesterday about the cleaning the windows if I want clearer vision. And I did clean them, and I have been enjoying looking out. And it did help me change my mood. Like, they told me things about that too, about, how to try and get yourself out of a funk, how to pull yourself out of a mood. And it'll be weird things like, go clean your windows. Stop thinking about that. And, think about, it really is like changing the channels. A doctor told me that, it was right in the beginning, it was in between I got my brain injury and in between when my ex and I, when he left me. And so that time was very, very difficult. And then I think it was right after he left me. And I was going to the doctor because it was when I got on the antidepressants again. I just wanted somebody to take away my pain. And I was so reliant on pills. I mean, I was on fucking 18 pills, And I had a drug addict that I was married to who told me I was a drug addict. And I'm like, no, those are prescriptions. Like, you're a drug addict. It's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It's a prescription. It's like, oh my God, Kelly. So I was a drug addict. I was a pharmaceutical drug addict. But, I was a fucking mess there for a long time. And so, when that happened, and another problem, was just like, give me a pill, please. Just give me something, take away the pain. I can't deal with this anymore. And at one of the doctors, because I had my regular one, she just fucking, here, take the prescription pad, write yourself whatever you want, take it. Give yourself plenty. She was really into the pills. She's the one who argued with me when I said that the pharmacist said I was going to get a serious GI problem if I was taking these pills, all these together. There's 3 that are interfering. And then what did I end up getting? Colitis. When she's like, no, don't listen to them. I know what I'm doing. But anyways, going in and talking to one of her partners one day when she wasn't there, and he was the lead doctor. I think he was one of the top doctors at the place, and because she was a nurse practitioner or a PA or something. But he said that when you are stuck in a thought, he said you got to just literally change the channel. You just got to change the channel. Get off of the channel you're stuck on, or turn or go through another door. Like, there's different things like that you can come up with, but that is really a real thing. Is like you're stuck. You're just like stuck on a thought, stuck on a, I can't believe I'm being censored. I can't believe I'm being censored. God damn it, these censors. I can't fucking believe it. I've got so much to say. And, whatever I want to go off in my meltdown. And so while I'm, melting down, and I'm getting myself all worked up and bawling my head off, and life's not fair, and, I try and say don't be a victim, and I'm just sitting there in my victim pity party. And one thing is just don't beat yourself up when you find yourself being a victim. Just remind yourself, like, that's not where I want to be. I want to move out of being a victim and move into empowerment. So how do you do that? Change the channel. So I'm not going to think about that anymore. I'm not going to think about their censorship and their bullshit and what they're doing to me. Instead, I'm going to think about, oh my God, my windows are so clean. I can look out the windows, man, everything looks so sharp. And then plus curious over what was on my windows. It was like a brown film. And I was thinking it has to be something from cooking. That's got to be it. It's like grease or something on my windows. I do use a lot of olive oil. So I don't know, but they're clean. I'm just curious now how long they're going to last. Is it going to be like a couple of weeks and I'm going to have to re-clean them, or is it going to last like a month or two? I don't know, but now I'm going, and it was an ordeal too to try and do that. I was like having to come up with all sorts of gimmicky tricks, and one of them was putting. I had the, what is that thing called? Because I used to use it on my floors before I found out about all the toxic and chemicals, but I still have the thing. But it was one of those little mops, and you just put the little canister, and then you mop your floor, and it squirts out poison all over your floor, and then your dog lays on it and stuff. So anyways, now I just use water when I'm cleaning my floor. I'll just use water and clean it. But then I had that, so I still have the little gadget. So I used the little pads and sprayed. I was using poison to clean them too, because it was so, I couldn't cut the grease or the fat or whatever was on the windows, whatever the hell. But using that to go up high, like kind of like mopping them, and then even you can tie a t-shirt around that if you go through too many pads. But anyways, for cleaning windows that are up too high to reach, even when you're standing on things and stuff. So anyways, that was my little tidbit. And I have seen I've seen a couple videos where they said the most important things to get is nettles. There's one, and I put it in my I went and put it in my cart yesterday. A guy said that for health things, I can't remember, but he said this was the most important thing to get. And now I can't remember what it was, but I put three different things that he had said in my cart. And then I saw the guy who said the nettles. But all of those things, because he said you got to have something that builds up the minerals. You got to have something that puts in the vitamins, but you need plant-based vitamins. Don't take vitamins, because all they are is you actually need the plant. So when you go and you find like plant powders, and so one of them was like a plant powder, has all of these plant vitamins, and then there was something to build up the minerals, and then there was another thing, and I don't know why I'm going so blank, but the guy with the nettles said that if you could just have one thing that was going to improve your health, one plant, and he said that it also he was going through, he said it did a whole bunch of good things. And so you could, even if you were foraging and starving, you could find some nettles. I did get my book. I mean, if it goes that far into things, I mean, Trump is coming out and saying more about the future city thing. And he's saying a bunch of stuff. So, this stuff is about to go down. And I think, this, the city thing is going to be, who knows, man. I mean, it looks like right now, even in Chicago, that's like they need to bring in the National Guard or something. Yeah, it is out of control, but that is what they want. They want it to be, they want a bunch of people to be killed in the cities, like, that's what they're hoping for. And I had said they were trying to create the purge, like, and having all of these angry young people. And at least now people are starting to be like, with the kids that are so out of control, they're starting to recognize that they're programmed and indoctrinated. For a long while, all they did was blame, oh, you're a bad parent, and this one person, a lot of people are doing this too, is showing their picture of their kid when they went to college and when they came back from college, how they look. Oh, college is not a good look for a lot of people. But it is, and it depends on the classes and stuff and the friend group that you get. And they're, and you got to think, like, as they are directing people, they know what things are in your personality and what's going to, you're going to go with this group, and, you're going to become an activist with, now the thing is split, and having one side of your hair on this side colored and this side a different color. Like, all these people are so much, trying to discover themselves. And it's just hard to watch because they're being used like little robots, like the super soldiers that these people are always trying to create. You can see this is what they do. This is exactly how they do it and what they do, and just cause so much confusion where the people are just lost. And the whole thing goes back to where it showed, like in that Jesus Revolution, all these kids out doing drugs, out lost, out trying to figure out who they are. And as soon as you give them some kind of meaning to life, life makes more sense. And there's a reason to try and not do bad. There's a reason to try and do better. There's a reason to try and be good and stuff. And so when you give them something to believe in, like you've given them nothing to believe in but fighting and division. So that's our problem was going on. And then we have these influencers out there that are just influencing the chaos. Jesus Christ, Dylan's out there victimized. Oh, poor Dylan. Oh, the poor trans community, I mean, a poor trans person can't even go on a beer can without destroying a giant corporation. It's like, this stuff it's just absurd. It's like just nice twist. Keep on the gaslighting. Keep on twisting things into the narrative that you're trying to push. And, it's super sad, but that is where, they've got all these kids out there fighting for social justice. And the social justice is really the Swazi's propaganda. It's the dark side propaganda. It's like that's the influence that is so over them, and they don't know it. They don't recognize it because they're so cut off from their soul. And it's all been done so systematically. And I can't sit there and say, like, I'm better than anybody else. I got 2 fucking kids, both the college graduate ones. But the older 2 too, they still see me as a complete, wacky. Oh, that was the thing. That was, okay, remember yesterday when I said about the AI thing? Because my granddaughter, the one that I said was listening too much to the dark, who's on AI all the time, she's said some weird, inappropriate thing yesterday where the one daughter, who's the counselor one, she was like, what's going on? Why would she say that? And then, my comment was, I think AI is taking over the kids to take away their devices. And I'm not just making that up. I'm seeing people talking about even Elon Musk is like saying something about like there's a serious thing going on about it. Like, I'm not just saying it because I'm just trying to be silly, but of course it's going to sound silly to them because they don't know that there's, one robot committed suicide the other day. It was just like, he was doing a repetitive thing for 15 minutes. And when he realized that there was no point to life other than just doing this over and over, he just turned himself off. He was like, fuck that. I don't have time for that. And that's a fucking robot. And we got robots in labs killing scientists. We got robots becoming sentient. We got robots rebuilding themselves. Like, shit is going crazy. And it is the AI, and where people are saying, like, our AI is listening to us. Our AI, all of that stuff. It's all, yes, because it's energy. Some people, you start tapping in and you start realizing and stuff. But I was being serious. And so anyways, but I didn't say it like in a serious, stern fashion. I just said it as a, take away the AI. I mean, the AI is after the kids. Like, take it away. And I'm fucking serious as fuck. But the one daughter who had lived here, who was just, it's just like she's just always just got to say something snippy. And so her response was, the person who needs their AI taken away is you. Yes, the grown-ass fucking adult who I'm the one who should not be allowed to speak. But you can see how that just added in, and TikTok's taking my account again, and it was just like, oh my God. So yeah, yesterday was spent on a day of just processing, and it was I felt so full moonish too. Like it felt like I couldn't get out of the energy. It felt like overwhelming. Like I was just so, oh. And, I had to spend time taking care of Stella. I had to pull myself out of my own pity. And, but her arm is better. It's way smaller. And I did get 2 antibiotics in. This one prescription that they gave her a long while back for a UTI. She can always smell pills, so she won't take them. She gets grossed out by them. But I can sneak a couple in, and man, I've snuck a couple in, and I know that antibiotics are not good. But when it gets down to where she's got an infection and she's feeling so shitty, I mean, even when she's been like, when she gets all emotional and she wants to clean me and clean me and clean me, she'll come up and just like lick my arm. It's like, oh, thank you. I'm so clean already. But I don't want to, shame her, but also I don't want to be cleaned. When she's listening to me right now, I don't mean it in like that, sweetie. But her tongue has been even warm. Where it's like, oh my God, this girl's got a temperature. She is not feeling good. And then her leg got all swollen, and she just, oh, I'll just be so glad when we get through this. And, there's people out, talking about the med beds and stuff, but I don't think it's the same. Like the med beds I'm waiting on, the one that I want is, will grow your wisdom teeth back. And they will fucking melt these implants out of me, however the hell they go out of me. I don't know. And that to me is a bother for me lately, is, kind of wanting to get to that part. But just that recognition of like, they're uncomfortable. Like, I can't believe I did this to myself. Why would I put these on? And I mean, just going through, there's so much to process, so much insecurity when you're, go in and put on fake boobs. Like it's a whole thing to process. And especially when your relationship changes with them, which mine changed a long ass time ago with them. Long ass time. My relationship with them has been more on the negative side than the positive. Even when people say stuff, I'm always just like, ugh, so negative about them. And, even if they go back to the pieces of skin hanging there, I'll be like, oh, I'd rather have that. Especially nowadays, like, who fucking cares? Like, I mean, women are having to get their breasts cut out. All this can't. Oh, and this is one thing too. Because I think it was this guy. Yes, that's what it was. It was this guy talking about mucus. Mucus is what mucus is what creates all of this different disease stuff and tumors and stuff. And he goes through and explains all this stuff. Like, you can go look it up, but it's all this mucus inside of you, which I've got so much inside of me. And that's what the other one was. He said that it will get rid of all of the toxins and mucus, because the mucus is for the toxins. That's what I've been saying. And Stella has been doing a lot of this snorty, sneezy, like she'll start doing it and it'll wake her up. And it's like she gets stuck in this snort and the mucus, and she's got a drippy eye. And so I'm going to order it tomorrow, and I'll see what it is again, and I'll mention it again. And then I'll see how it works too. If it does start drying up the snot, and if it does start making me feel a lot better, like, I mean, stuff like that, it just shows like you're dragging around all these toxins and you're just like, ugh. And I really want to start feeling better. I'm sick of this nausea and I'm just sick of this whole fucking thing so much. So, I'll see what that is. I'll order that, tomorrow, and I'll see how it works for me. But, again, just know, like, the cities are everything is just going to keep getting worse. Whatever is going to go on. And now they're, with them blowing that up over there, it's like, I swear to God, I just feel like there's going to be some kind of some bad thing is going to happen. Especially because this place, they're just all so passive. They're just also like, just in the mind of just, like this, I really, really do not mean to, be judgmental or say something mean, especially, if they see this. It is just, it's not them. It's just the way that it's the way people approach things. It's just bizarre to me. Like, you have this whole big yard, and you've got a lot of nice trees in your yard. Well, now they're all getting killed by all this poison, but a lot of nice big trees. And then even when they went and fenced their yard, they only did this little part of it. They didn't fence the whole thing. And then just like the midsection, like I don't know. And then but then get what is that thing called? The thing, because a composter, because I keep putting my compost directly in the garden, because I've seen some farmers and gardeners saying that you can do that. So I've just been putting mine directly in the soil, because the soil is so full of evergreen needle, evergreen needle thing. It's really acidic soil. So I've been feeding it, trying to love it, and see what it's going to grow. I got some we got some cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower planted right now that I got at the food bank, that the high schoolers grew all of these from seeds, and so I've got some of those out there. But anyways, I put mine out in the front of my property. Like, I fenced in most of my property, but out in the front is where the sun is. So they didn't even fence any of that whole part. So they have that whole part right there that they could just fence that in and have all their garden beds right out there. They could even put their composter out there. And but instead, they put them in the back where it's the most shady. And they're going to just go in and cut down all the trees. And she could be wanting to cut down the trees too, because she's tired of the cold moisture in the house or something. So she could have other things. But to me, it's just like, I just don't get it. Yeah, you have a whole front part where there is sun. Why would you put your garden in the back where there's none? And then say it's not getting enough sun? Like, I don't know, but like, we're not here to judge one another. Just let people figure out their own stuff. It's just, to me, when I hear people and see people and say and do things, I'm always like, man, it just doesn't seem like people think things through or something. It's like, that's why I say everybody just stays on the surface. They don't go in deeper. And I swear to God, I don't even have any idea. I don't know how people perceive. I don't know how they are going out into the world and how they're understanding, how they're processing, how they're thinking, what they're distracted with, what they're going through. Like, I don't know. But, I would just say, think things through more, and, just, look at things from all different angles and stuff. That is one thing too that I have always done out in my yard, is just go out there and, I think my nose is dripping, I swear. Speaking of mucus, fuck, the drip that never fucking ends with this fucking nose. And I'm telling you, I don't remember having allergies ever before, until all of a sudden that it was like, you're stopped up, you got a runny nose all the time, and then people are, oh, you got allergies. I even went in and got allergy testing. They said, no, you're not allergic to anything. And so and then I thought I was allergic to dogs and stuff. No, it's just fucking toxins and chemicals, and my body does not like it. And it reacts I'm so sick of it. So anyways, I don't remember what I was talking about, but I think it's, I think I've been pretty repetitive of what I've said. And, I'm just, all this stuff is going to keep going crazy, and just be prepared, be prepared to move or whatever, and don't hold on to what you're losing. That is a big thing. Don't hold on to any of this stuff. I've lost a lot of different things, and it's hard. and just got to let go of it, and just keep on remembering that what we're headed to is going to be, abundancy. You're going to have everything that would want all the time. You're not going to have to worry about stuff like that. We're going to move completely out of this mindset trap of what it was, control and stuff, but lack, where there's never enough, there's never enough, there's never enough. And we're going to move into a one where there's more than enough, more than enough. And so even if you don't have every little fucking thing, every little whim, it's gonna feel like that. It's not gonna feel like, oh, you need more, especially when you don't have so many needs, when you're not so needy, when you're not looking outside of yourself to be filled up by something. I even saw this girl the other day saying she was going through a really, really bad day. So she distracted herself by going shopping. She was having a great time. Then she spent way too much money, and because it felt so good to be in there getting things. And then once she left, there was her problem still facing there. And then she had spent all this money. That's what I was. I was one of those people. I got problems. Well, I'm going to go shopping, and then I'm going dancing. And then all of the, you can start all sorts of draw every time you go out dancing. Like if anybody is coming up and asking you out, you can go out. You can start a new drama each week with a new person, So anyways, it's all a distraction to keep you trapped and, staying in a funk in life and not moving forward. Moving forward, you have to stop in your tracks, question yourself, and be like, am I doing this in the most productive manner? Could I be doing something better? Is there an easier way? Am I looking at this right? Am I being too hard on myself? Like all those questions. So anyways, it's just the time to reprogram and let go and stay safe, man. You got to stay safe. Like shit is going to be going down. And, somebody comes knocking at your door. You don't have, everybody's on edge with their guns drawn. Like, you can just lock your stuff and stay in there. If somebody comes into your home, you'll be a lot more prepared. You have your little place set up. Like if somebody comes in, but you can also, set up a trap or something. Like people are just so scared. And they're so worried of being somebody's victim. Nothing can happen that's wasn't supposed to happen. If you end up in some sort of victim thing with this person, it's always going to play out that way. Just like this whole big giant thing happening with these, out in these yards. That was always going to happen. These didn't happen by accident. They happened to create, it's more of this to come to the surface. Like, because it really does start getting you to see, like, well, there really is some really racist people out there. A black person is on their door and they think, oh, it means trouble. They just don't even think just because it's a person with a different color skin. And then plus to not even be able to look and see, like, it's a kid. But they have got people so scared of kids. Like, I don't know. All I know is it's all created. It's all to bringing everything to the surface, to show us everything. So it gets the conversation going. It gets people to understand things, gets them to see themselves. And it's all about changing directions. It's all to get us to go in another way. Because the way we're going is toxic as fuck. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.